Windows 11,
Yes.
and I was told I have to do something with my Windows 11. And
Windows 10.
Oh,
most of the crowd seem to be more satisfied with Google than they are Microsoft.
what? Oh, a Chromebook you're talking about.
Chromebook.
It depends on what you do with your computer. That was hopefully the point I was trying to make at the meeting. Depending on what you want to do, I have programs that I want to run in Windows only. I wouldn't be happy on a Chromebook. When I prepare taxes, I do nothing but Chromebook.
Really?
Yeah, but it's all web-based and it's for security reasons because it's controlled by, the corporation, but, and if you want more options and programs, the more availability of programs, then I would go with Linux rather than a Chromebook, because there's gonna be more programs that are written for Linux than there are for Chromebooks.
Does your Windows 10 say it won't upgrade? No.
No,
Did you? I don't know. We haven't.
Oh, you,
you keep telling me to do it, and I've not done it yet.
okay, well, on the do it window, there should be a check compatibility button you press, and it'll run that program that says if it will or it won't work. And one of the things we had to do with Don is go update his BIOS, so to the
They probably won't want to have.
latest, well, it's not that hard, but we had to update his BIOS because his motherboard was compatible. But at the time he bought the computer, the defaults were way back when, not to have TPM enabled. So the update of the BIOS allowed that to happen, and then after I updated the BIOS, we downloaded Windows 11, and he's up and running on Windows 11.
But I think the point is if they clicked on it and said, and you said, okay, check it or go ahead and do it, it would be fun.
And it works, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
best-
If
that's
the
the best
compatibility
solution.
checker comes back
And
and
I
says
didn't
it's,
even remember how 10 was different.
yeah, it's just, I heard somebody today say, Windows 11 is mostly cosmetic, and I agree with.
Cosmetic.
Yeah.
Get it, let me know. Yeah, when you get the message, look at it together. And if it says,
Yeah,
you want us to test it, then let
Well,
it
there
test
should
it.
be a button about test compatibility or something like that, or check requirements or
I think
something.
it comes up on his site, not mine.
Okay, and you can go to Windows Updates and force it and check for compatibility, I believe, too.
Yeah,
If you want to do
yeah,
that.
you can, I did that.
When's the
drop dead date for that?
October, yeah.
Second Tuesday of October, which is
Yeah.
update Tuesday.
It sounds like something to do with the Supreme Court.
No, it's it's update Tuesday, Microsoft's update Tuesday.
Second Tuesday of October.
Mickey,
Yes.
can I ask a question? I'm in the Zoom meeting and I got everybody's picture at top. And underneath it, it says from party line phones to pocket
Yeah.
computers.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. I'm sharing my screen, but
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, what did I do wrong?
no,
Okay.
you didn't do
thanks.
anything wrong. I mean, if you want to see, well, there's nobody.
There, okay.
Yeah, we can see us.
Might be
but
why.
I was sharing my screen because I thought we were ready to start the meeting, and then Sandy says, well, you're.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll still share my window again.
I mean, there's parts of both systems I like. That's my problem.
Both systems, what do you mean?
Between Microsoft and Chrome.
Oh, you have a Chromebook? Or you have experience with Chromebook?
We have Chrome on our, but we also have Microsoft.
Okay, well, again, it depends on what you want to run.
Yeah, and you can go back and forth.
And even
I
if
go
you,
back
okay, and
So you
again,
can still-
there's, what you just saw,
For what I use it, that's fine that way.
Yeah,
okay, well, if you don't want to ever get on the internet, Windows 10 is fine to keep. If you want to get on the internet, I wouldn't do it. But again, if you could always get one of those cheap mini PCs that we showed.
well, let's assume the update will work for.
Right, yeah.
We'll wait and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and if not,
Months here.
yeah. Let us know what your,
Messages.
no, well, yeah, I mean, if it's just TPM, that may be a BIOS update. If it's your CPU's too old, not much you can do.
Okay. Then you have to go one of the other routes, but
Right.
let's assume. We'll
start
I
there.
just,
Right,
We'll
right,
start and see what it says first.
right.
that's.
All right, are we ready to start? Okay. always.
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so here we are in our June meeting. How could it be June already? Seems like I'm always saying that. How could it be halfway through the year?
Make them happy.
Oh my God. I don't know if I want to start over again necessarily, so I guess we'll stay in June. So we have the newsletter is available online if anybody wants to go there and read it or print and or print. Pam has pulled it together for us again and yeah, I'm doing the I was gonna point out that well, let's do the minutes so I don't forget.
Right.
All right, so the do I have a motion to accept the minutes as they appear in the newsletter? I'll motion. Thank you.
Who is that?
Karen Kohler,
Who?
Karen Kohler,
Spell the last name for him.
KOH.
Kohler. And the second?
Oh, I will.
Mickey did it. Keep us moving. And all in favor? Yeah. I just wanted to point out to the president's column that I'm sure nobody has read. I always write it with that in mind. Nobody's not gonna read it. But I knew I wanted to comment in the such an article about how fast technology has come upon us. You know, just in my lifetime, it's just unbelievable. And so I had some ideas like that I wanted to cover. So I asked ChatGPT, the AI. I said, I want to write an article about, and you know, you're supposed to word it in a friendly, clear way and make a point, you know, who's your audience and all this and that. And it's, okay, Sandy, let me see what we can do. It's incredible. And then and she says, well, how does that sound? Would you like me to reword it? And I said, no, that's good, but not comment on how artificial intelligence is coming at us so fast and something about that. And then it gave me another paragraph. And then I signed it ChatGPT and me. Giving it credit.
Yeah.
I had to think of what I wanted it to say at least. So that, you know, it's kind of fun anymore, because otherwise it gets so humdrum for me. But maybe that'll inspire someone to actually read it. And then Pam usually puts together a lot of articles. She has sources that share their articles and tips and tricks, and then she picks out the ones she thinks sound interesting. So the newsletter is there for us to read. Next month we haven't focused on anything special unless something comes up today. Then we can say, well, we'll look at that next month. Otherwise, it'll probably be another collection of hodgepodge, as I tend to call it. But today I was finding some articles out there that talked about this, how fast things have changed. You know, like someone commented the other day and they says, well, AI is going to take all the jobs. And already I think did I see somebody gray hair?
Yep. That's Ellen.
She see where we are?
Yep.
Hi. Well, I know it's. I really do need that. But this is where you were trying to get to. Don't worry about it. Wherever you want to sit. Oh, so I said, you know, that the common thing is that when cars became a thing that people could buy and drive a car, they said how many blacksmiths were put out of business
Oh, right.
because horses were not needed, you know, at all as much as they used to be before cars. So you gotta think of it as you can't just sit on the old technology.
Right.
Cause it's gonna change jobs, people have to adapt somehow or other, but it's gonna be significant, I believe, anyway. But things are changing fast, so we want to look at some of these YouTubes, or these videos on YouTube that I think demonstrate this. What, did you look at it, maybe do you have a?
I
to start?
looked at a few.
Where's the one with,
This
is it
is,
Katie Couric?
that is this one.
Oh, what is the internet anyway? But this is Katie Couric, you know, is a TV personality who's been online for a long time. And the guy she's talking to, I don't remember his name, but
Brian, isn't it Brian?
there's he might still be on TV as well.
Yeah,
So it wasn't all that long ago, but they
Oh,
just
right,
look
right.
young.
1994.
Oh, that's right, we gotta meet that. 1994. They just heard about the internet. Now think how what's the word?
Ubiquitous is all.
Yeah. Yeah, how it is now. And so in 1994, it's only a minute or two. Why don't we look at that one? It's
Back now at 56
they can hear and see it.
Yeah, Don, you were able to hear what,
Yes, I wasn't prepared to translate that as I was doing that.
Because I
Don, you were able to hear that?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
All right.
Back now at 56 past, I wasn't prepared to translate that as I was doing that little tease.
Oh, that's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never heard
Or
it.
around
I'd never
or
heard it
about.
said. I'd always
That's
seen the
right.
mark, but never heard
Yeah.
it said. And then it
Yeah.
sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
Yeah, I heard
be around
big
or
fight
about.
up in the lunchroom the other
See,
week.
there it is. Violence at NBC. GE.com. I mean,
Well, Allison should know.
what
do you
is
say to that,
internet
Allison?
anyway?
Internet is that
Massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Oh, Allison will be in the studio shortly.
What is
What
it?
does it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like
You've
a
been looking in the
computer
dictionary.
billboard.
It's not an. It's a computer billboard, but it's
Right.
nationwide. And it's several universities and everything all joined together. And
Right.
And others can access it.
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
It
Just
came
great.
in really handy during the quake. A lot of people, that's how they were communicating out to tell family and loved ones they were okay because all the phone lines were down.
I was telling Katie, and I've
But
been
you don't
talking.
need that. You don't need a phone line to operate internet.
No.
Anyway, I just thought that was 1994. I mean, that it's like interviewing with Alexa. How fast has it become such a part of our lives that? Because I remember first getting online and having to dial access of the phone, and I had to deal with if I was doing something on the internet
Right.
that it used my phone line and I couldn't get a call in or something. I mean, it is just Zoom.
We have the same thing on these cell phones.
Yes,
We've lost a whole bit of conversing with each other. It's all by phone.
yeah, and by text a lot of times. Or then you have to keep track, well, this person, if I want to send them a message, I gotta do it by text. This person only wants to get an email. This person doesn't want to get it either way. I have to find a phone and call them.
And back there in 1994, when we teachers were getting certified, they had a couple computers and we'd be like 7 or 8 people standing behind one computer.
Waiting a turn.
Waiting,
Well,
well,
No, learning over the shoulder.
Oh,
learning.
learning
oh,
how to,
looking over the shoulder and I got certified. I needed one more class to get state certification and my daughter-in-law threatened me if I did that because she really knew computers.
oh, good already.
And I didn't know it was anything standing 7 back.
Well, I worked at the library a block away during those years. And I've always been a computer geek from the time I first saw a typewriter, I think. But I was able to get in on the edge of it being put into the library and are having to learn it and everything. And it was, for me, it was an exciting time. Other people are, well, I think it's time to retire.
Yeah, I was with you with the exciting part.
Yeah. And I'm saying, let's go. But it's just remarkable how it went from what they were just sitting and talking about. And I think Brian and Katie are still
Yeah.
in the news or active. She has a podcast or something at least. And we went from there to here so quickly. Anyway, what about the 93 ones? These are little shorts
93. Oh,
predicted in
yeah.
the future.
Yeah, they're commercials.
And it was
It was
created
interesting.
in 1993,
Right.
which is, a year. And it was made by AT&T, which,
Yeah, they're commercials for AT&T.
yeah, the commercials are for AT&T, but they're supposing what
What
might the future look like.
Right.
And I think it was fun
It was.
to watch these.
Well, many things have gone way past what they thought the future would even be.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
for sure. Stupid ads.
Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away? Across the country? Without stopping for directions? Or sent someone a fax? From the beach? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? Bought concert tickets from a cash machine? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to, the minute you wanted to? Learn special things.
That's all taken from jazz.
Know any questions? From faraway places.
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question. Or tucked your baby in. From a phone booth. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever kept an eye on your home when you're not at home? Or gotten a phone call
How was your day?
on your wrist? Beautiful. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
Your true voice.
Have you ever opened doors
I'm home.
with the sound of your voice? Our card, please. Carried your medical history in your wallet. Your wife's gonna be just fine.
So this is where we stand on the atrium.
Or attended a meeting
I really like what you guys have been doing, but
in your bare feet.
I may have a few other ideas.
You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T. Have you ever had a classmate who's thousands of miles away? Conducted business in a language you don't understand. You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
Anyway, I think most of those have come to pass, or like you say, even more sophisticated than we imagined in 1993.
If you want to go back further than that,
Uh-oh.
in 1985, I bought my first computer,
Yeah,
and we bought it through the company that I worked for, and they told us we got a substantial discount on it. And so we thought, we think they're pulling our legs and all this stuff. It was $4,900.
Oh my God.
Okay. And so we went out and priced it. And I can't remember. There's somebody on the west side of Cleveland some place that was selling them. And when we priced it out, it was like $6,900. Now at that time, with that, we got the monitor, we got the software, we got a dot matrix, slower than, going uphill, a printer, and you could get, it came with, excuse me, 2 5.25-inch floppy drives.
Wow.
Which is, if you waved them like this, they'd fan you, okay?
Yeah.
On the whole thing. And it was just unbelievable what they cost, and that it's compared today. And I'm looking here, my computer I'm using now it's an Ace Magician. It's probably 3.5 inches by 3.5 by 2. And didn't have the screen or anything, but I think I paid just under $300 for that.
Is that like the?
That's the mini.
Yeah.
Ace Magician makes.
We were looking at those last month.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is one of the smaller ones. They have much
Yeah.
bigger ones out now. But the other thing that brought that up was the fact you were talking about what you heard from the past. And it's been somewhere about a month ago. I was watching something on YouTube, and they were talking about something just like that. And they said, and I'm sure Mickey knows this, where were the A and B drives on the computer? Huh?
Yeah, I remember that. That was S. Leo, right?
Yeah. Okay. There were the 2 floppy drives.
Right, exactly right.
And then about 2 years after I had that, I think I spent $300, and I got a whopping thing you could put in there for 5 megabytes.
Yeah.
that you could get there. So that did away with one of the floppy drives. But when they asked that question, it's been so long ago, like say about 1985, I forgot all about A and B.
Mm-hmm.
There was an A and B drive, and C now is usually the hard drive, and they go up from there. But yeah, it is just amazing as to what it is
I
today.
want to say, we could look it up real quick easily, but Bill Gates said when it first.
Oh, right.
That we'd never need anything bigger than a.
Well, plus he's the one, wasn't he the one that said that this internet thing would never take off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be fun to look at, find some of those out there online, but yeah, he didn't have the projection of the future either at that time. Oh, we'll never need more space than that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it just really
Terabytes nowadays, terabytes, plus storing it in the cloud was incomprehensible, I'm sure.
But yeah, like I say, when you used to dial up, it was like, for Christ's sakes.
I remember what my first, which computer was that? Maybe a Dell. And it came with the big box, the monitor, the CPU, and one whole box of manuals.
Oh.
Manuals.
Oh, yeah.
One whole separate box. And wow.
No, that's true, because we got the manuals that came with it. Gosh, I'll bet you stacked up, they were like a foot high.
Yeah.
A regular size, like books of what they were. I think we used them for paperweights eventually, but
I just got a new printer, and it either comes with a quick one sheet that's a quick start guide, or just a QR code. Scan this QR code, and you'll see the directions to work this whole system, and it's just so
different.
Frustrating. We would never have imagined, right?
Nope.
So those were the things the videos that got me thinking about all of this. What maybe the past predictions of the future?
Sure.
Along this theme?
Yeah.
Imagine for a moment what the world will look like in 10 years' time. Not much different? What about 50 or 100 years from now? In this future world, what will our cities look like? How will you travel to work, school or college? And what kind of new technologies will we have at our disposal? What will the planet look like? And will we be any happier than before? Now, this particular question is by no means new. Predictions and prophecies of the future are as old as time itself. But what have been some past predictions of the time we're in right now, the early 21st century? An age filtered through the internet, algorithms and data. Let's see if they were onto something. So, let's start by going back 120 years ago. In the 1900s, the invention of the first aeroplane opened massive potential in transportation and sparked the imaginations of the public. In Germany, a chocolate company called Hildebrands made a series of commemorative postcards imagining the life in the year 2000. They speculated that the world would go airborne. People will take to the skies in their very own personal airships and gliders. The same series also speculated that housing blocks will travel via giant steam trains, or that entire cities will be encased in glass to protect them from the rain. They even imagined summer vacations spent up at the North Pole. Sadly, maybe that one might come true one day. Take a look at these French prints. They also depict life in the year 2000, but this time were made around 1910. Once again, it was the future for the aviators, who will seemingly replace the motorcar by the year 2000. This one pictures a man in a glider, grabbing a glass of wine for the road, or should I say skies. It's a bit like a modern day drive-through. This man is getting a haircut from his mechanical barber. Now, I would use the term robot, but it won't be coined until 1920, 10 years from now. In the classroom, this contraption is fed books, whose words are then played directly into the students' ears. An early audiobook, perhaps? Whilst it seems that fashion will go unchanged, these quaint imaginings from the start of the 20th century show a great sense of optimism for the future. It reminds me of the steampunk genre, a future vision and aesthetic, but stuck in Victorian technologies, like steam power and industrial machinery, as well as goggles and top hats. Now moving towards the 1920s, and we get another vision of the future. Fritz Lang's 1927 masterpiece Metropolis has some great resources for the topic. In this film, cities are now supersized, featuring mega skyscrapers, expansive highways, and beautiful robots, all with a Jazz Age Art Deco aesthetic. It was no doubt influenced by contemporary New York, which during the 20s was undergoing rapid vertical growth. Just look at how the city changed from the 1910s to the 1930s. It's also in the 1920s where we see the first flying cars. This 1923 drawing by early science fiction writer Hugo Gernsback introduces the first wheeled helicar, a levitating vehicle speculated to enter the market in 1973.
So now, let's take a realistic look at the road ahead and what tomorrow's motorist can expect in the years to come.
Speed, safety, and comfort will be the keynotes of tomorrow's highways. A multicolored highway system may enable the motorist to reach his destination by following the correct color strip. The increased speed of tomorrow's automobile will demand that highway signs be larger and more simple to read, so that the motorist can anticipate his moves well in advance. If visibility is poor, our windshield becomes a radar screen, showing the outline of objects ahead. Or fog may be eliminated by dispelling devices along the right-of-way.
Other predictions of the future include one 1950s article that too imagines what the year 2000 will be like. It predicts that the future will be one of convenience and luxury. This picture phone will allow us to buy products from a screen and have it delivered without leaving the home. Then again, it also predicts that all our food will be made from a sort of flavoured sawdust that can be recycled into clothes. Confusing, I know. Most interesting is the role atomic energy plays in a 1950s future. After the detonations of the atomic bomb in Japan, the world was awakened to the immense potentials of nuclear power. In the same article, it speculates that atomic power will provide 100% of the world's power, and by the year 2000, that street lamps will be replaced by micro-suns, suspended 200 feet in the air and powered by uranium. In reality, nuclear power only really accounts for 10% of global energy, and there are no micro-suns in sight. When we come to the 60s and 70s, the age of the moon landings and later Star Wars, visions of the future changed accordingly. In my mind, this is perfectly laid out in the Hanna-Barbera 1962 animated series The Jetsons, which follows the everyday lives of an ordinary nuclear family in the far, far future of 2062. Despite the wonderful technologies, it all seems somehow very 60s, The hometown of Orbit City is designed in the Googie architectural style, an early futuristic style that was extremely popular at the time. Even their outfits have some sort of retro-futuristic look. By the end of the 60s, once the space race reached a climactic head in the Apollo moon landings, many predicted that mankind will soon reach Mars in the next 50 years. And as the 70s came and went, the dream of space colonization continued. This NASA video imagines that by the year 2000, humans will have begun to colonize space, opening a permanent settlement on Mars. Take a look.
This is Taurus, the concept that has evolved from the work of these teams of scientists and engineers. They believe the huge space colony could be built before the year 2000. From dairy farms to manufacturing, the concept of living and working in space is a possibility with existing technology. That new space home, located 250,000 miles from Earth, would even have a far-out address.
In the 80s and 90s, as personal computing and home technology were just getting underway, our imaginations for the future changed once again. In Back to the Future 2, the 1989 movie about time travel, Doc and Marty visit Earth in 2015. In it were featured hoverboards, fun payment systems, and an automatic dog walker. Yet a bleaker imagining comes from 1984's The Terminator, predicts a future in which rogue technological giant Skynet takes over the world. It's just one of a slew of predictions about the dangers of oncoming technology. And finally, as the 1990s came along, video games offered more digital immersion than ever realised. And the advent of the World Wide Web and its growing popularity offered the possibility of living inside a virtual reality, and hence the rapid growth of VR headsets in this time, including the ill-fated Virtual Boy from Nintendo. Only now, with the Oculus Rift and PlayStation VR headsets, are we going to finally live up to those 1990s dreams. Looking back at visions of the future every decade, and we get a very diverse picture. The year 2000 looks very different in the 1910s to the 1950s and the 1970s. And yes, some predictions have come true, like the development of the driverless car, or shopping at the simple press of a button. But a lot are far off. Let's go back to that question at the start of the video. What will our future really look like? In his book Homo Deus, author Yuval Noah Harari expects that humanity will begin its quest to immortality, with humans being able to sustain life of over 150 years. Equally, projects may be underway to develop cybernetic enhancements on humans, giving them improved strength and intelligence. These indeed could be reality by the end of the century. It is believed that by 2050, nearly half the Amazon rainforest would have been deforested. Wildfires might have tripled in regions like California and some in Australia, and by 2056, global temperatures may have risen by 3 degrees Celsius. And if that's too depressing for you, don't worry. By the year 2100, space travel could decrease in price, enough for humans to visit and perhaps even colonize the planet Mars. The thing about the future though, is that no one really knows what's going to happen. All we have to go on is current trends and then make guesses. But as we've seen, each present moment imagines a future with themselves clearly in it, taking advantage of the newest technology of the day to its furthest limits. The 1910s saw a future with a newly invented aeroplane taking centre stage. The 1950s saw a future of atomic power and driverless cars. And the 1960s and 70s saw their future in the stars, perhaps influenced by the ongoing space programs. My best guess is to expect the unexpected. After all, who can imagine the way 2020 has turned out? People in 2120 will likely look back at our future predictions just like the way we look at those made in 1910. Old, antiquated, maybe even a little naive. That's my prediction at least. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like my content and want to see more, subscribe to Hochelaga.
I hear that people say, we're supposed to have a flying hoverboard by now. And isn't that Back to the Future?
Exactly.
Something like that. And I said, well, where's our
jetpack?
Yeah. Of course, at our age, with knees and everything, I don't think I'd want to get on a hoverboard or a skateboard or anything. Of course, maybe they'll be scientifically improved even more. I don't know.
Our neighborhood is run over by the electric scooters, and even 4-year-olds are on them
now,
and younger. And my daughter went online, and the state of Ohio approves them for children of all ages, and the city of Lorraine approves it for children of all ages. So if you're out there driving, be careful.
Scooters or bikes?
Scooters, little scooters.
Yeah,
and
they're motorized scooters.
motorized scooters, and they're scooting around in and out of driveways and up and
I
down.
thought scooters were passe, I thought the
Yeah.
e-bikes were the.
The
Well, these are for the younger.
electric scooters.
And can't you like go downtown Cleveland and they'll have scooters parked
Rent.
along the way and you put your credit card in
Yeah.
and it releases
There's a
it
lot
to
of
you.
That was the hope, I don't know if it actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's.
Well, there are quite a few down there, but the little children on these scooters
Seems
are legal
dangerous.
and dangerous.
They should be wearing helmets for one thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, cause little kids are unpredictable where they'll go and they've got more power.
And they even fall off.
To move faster, yeah. It does seem a danger, yes. But, at the rate we're going, I don't know what's next. Is that the, I think those were our, links. They're on our, presentation page for anybody who wants to look at them again or refer someone to them. But, maybe we could look at, the one of the first two then.
Alright. Shopping assistant.
This is using ChatGPT, one of the AI products. So we're stepping into a new time, with our.
Hey, it's James speaking. ChatGPT did it again. Brand new feature came out yesterday, and I'm going to tell you about it because it changes everything yet again. Every time I come on, every couple days, it's like some AI tools changes everything again. Fortunately or unfortunately, the one that they announced yesterday is one that is going to change a lot for a lot of people, even if you're not in the education space. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the new shopping agent, or I guess you could say shopping assistant, that has now been built in directly into ChatGPT. And it doesn't matter if you're using the installed version on your computer or if you're using the web browser. It doesn't matter if you're a paid user or an unpaid user. This is available to everyone now for free, and it's starting to be rolled out. I do have access to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it works, and then I'm going to have a little bit of a talk about what it means moving forward if you are wanting to get involved in all of this AI stuff, and especially how it's going to change and affect shopping. So just in a nutshell, this is basically a tool that replaces what we normally do with purchases online by going and doing a Google search, getting a list of products, clicking on the links to the products, going and evaluating them, trying to go to another site and find out a comparison between them, and then go and try and figure out the best price. What this does is it allows us to go directly into ChatGPT, and as long as we're running the 4.0 or 4.01 mini, I think, all you need to do, this is the one that's free to everyone, and it's the default one, the 4.0. So you just put in a prompt that's shopping related or product comparison related, or so shows some kind of purchase intent, and it will actually do that. So I said, I'm looking for a Compact Ninja or Cuisinart dual compartment air fryer under $300. Can you recommend some options? So I'm just going to click there. It knows obviously that I'm looking for some kind of product. Again, this can be any prompt that you want. It can be the ones they use in the example are ear pods, could be something that is a coffee maker. It could be any physical product, and I'll get to the other types of products after. But hey, it's brought them up, and it says a couple things. Local retailer in Canada, if you can see that. What that means to you and me is it knows where I am, it knows physically where I am, and it also knows the currency that's appropriate to me. I just said $300 from a local retailer. I didn't say $300 Canadian from someone who is in this particular area. Whatever my ISP or my location of my internet service, this is exactly where it comes from. And what happens is it will show a carousel of some of the options that are available to me from the local retailers and or online purchases that a Canadian can make in Canadian funds. And there's another thing that's interesting with the carousel. If you look, it's got best overall, versatile cooking, space saving, compact toaster oven, and on that one it didn't have it, air fryer basket. So what does this mean? Well, we can click on any one of these, or if you scroll down, you see it says, here's the explanation of them. We've got a carousel of what it is, but we've also got an explanation. Which one's the best overall? Which is the one that's most versatile? Which one has the best space saving area? And at any time, you can see these are clickable links. So if I want to go take a look at it, I can just click best overall. And then lo and behold, what shows up on the sidebar now? A direct purchase link to, in my particular case, I've got 3 options that are under my $300, but they're all the ones that are close. So I can order online from Ninja Canada. I've got Amazon CA and a place called Tangay, Grizzly Shelter. Walmart is here. Shoppers Drug Mart has them. You can order them. Wayfair, Best Buy, Staples, Rona. These are all local retailers and they all have the particular prices. And at any time I can go and just click on the link and it's now opened up to the ninjakitchen.ca website and it's brought me specifically to the product to purchase. And look, I even got a 10% off a discount. So think about what happens here. I'm in a position now where normally I would have had to do a whole bunch of different searches in ChatGPT and then tried to figure it out. And or I would have been in a completely different platform like Google and doing the exact same thing. This is all in one place. It's shopping and it's done with the direct purchase links. So you're probably going, James, okay, that's great. If someone is going to retail some stuff, that's great for e-commerce. What does this mean to me if I'm selling educational content or I'm selling digital services or digital products? Well, the thing is, the exact same thing happens. I was playing around with it and I was trying to figure out, what's going to happen with the assistant. So I said, you know what? I want to go and find out what's actually going on here. So what I did is I started asking ChatGPT, what are the things that I should be aware of here? So let me just open up one of the different things that I had and I'll open up the chat that I had. And let me go with this. Yeah, so here's the thing that's kind of interesting. The way that this comes up with the results is really, really interesting. And it's something that we have to be aware of because irrespective if it's a physical product or a digital product, info product, online course, any particular product, the way it comes up with that listing when we search is important. And it will search, it actually will search on courses. I did ask that. I said, where's the one I said? Yeah. So I said, yes, ChatGPT Shopping Assistant can assist you in discovering, comparing, selecting online courses and educational content, whether you're seeking to acquire new skills, delve into specific subject, or find courses to align with your schedule. It can guide you through the various platforms and offerings. And it had some sample prompts here. And I said, what was the other one? Can it offer direct-to-purchase links for online courses when they're available through major platforms? Look what it says, Coursera, Udemy, edX, and when the course recommendations, it offers curated options along with it. So what does this actually mean to us and how is this actually fitting into it? Here's the thing, the way that these come up is fundamentally different than the way that these listings come up in Google. Google does something called search engine optimization. It is a keyword or keyword phrase or and all of the stuff that goes around it, but it's about the keyword and the phrase. It's not about the natural language or the intent that is being put in to the request to a tool or a large language model. So right now, product suggestions are not ads and they're not and are selected independently based on, this is the one here, user intent. Now there's a couple things that happens here. User context from the current query, previous chats, memory, and preferences via the custom instructions. So if, for example, you have a particular brand that you like, or if there's a particular vendor that you like, you can put that in special instructions, right? Price, reviews, relevance, and ratings, they're based on factors, again, that are there, but it also are third-party data sources. This is the one that's going to be interesting because it looks at the data that it's collecting from the vendors, the product SKUs, and the information, and then it's also looking at third-party data sources. So that means a couple things for us. First of all, they're not ranked. There's no affiliate links here. It's a direct checkout, so they're not skimming anything off the top. But third-party and public sentiment and generated by Budget Friendly, it's organized by context by ChatGPT. Price, reviews, relevance, and ratings due to user preferences. So I'm playing around with this and I'm thinking, okay, great. What does that have to do with courses right now? Well, if I go do a search on courses, let me just pull one up and you'll see what happens. I'm just going to go, and again, I put some of these, put together some of these after, let me just do this one. So I'm going to say list free courses on graphic design. And I'm going to put them in and we'll just do a search on that particular one. And let's just put it in and see what happens. So I'm looking to learn about graphic design and I want one that's not too long. I'm going to say, let's say we're going to say under $100. So I'm going to say list courses on graphic design that can be complete, that are priced under $100. Okay. So I'm doing a search not for a physical product, but I'm doing a search for an info product or an educational product. Again, it's going to go search out the web. And remember what this search is based on. It's based on having access to that product description, the titles, the SKUs, all of that stuff. It's looking for third-party references or third-party directories. And then it's also using ChatGPT to figure out where does this one fit in from the ones that it has collected. So here's some of the top rated courses that it has, and these are links to the actual courses. Now, if we go underneath, and you can see that there's a carousel here, we've got all these different particular ones that are available, and I've also now got a list to them, and I can click on them exactly the same as I would if it was a physical product. The different thing that happens here is when I go take a look at this one, let me just do one on Udemy because it's one that we know. This one's actually free. I'm going to click it. And what happens is it goes to the actual search for free courses on Udemy or the listings. Now, I have seen some of them go directly to purchase the course. It depends on where it is. The bottom line is that if we're selling digital products or digital services, people are still going to be able to use this. They're still going to be able to say, compare these two courses, or which is the best course that I can purchase on this topic for this particular price. This is going to change everything again for every person who is buying stuff. This is more than a search engine. This is now an assistant, a digital assistant that helps us through the process of evaluating and making buying decisions. This is really, really cool. And again, it's going to bring up a couple things, and I'm going to talk about it in the next one, but I want you, next video, I just want you to think of this for a second. I wrote a book called Get Ranked First on Google in the early 2000s, I think it was. That whole thing about search engine optimization, that whole industry has been upended yesterday because it's not search engine optimization that we're looking for. It's large language model optimization. I've actually put some charts together on the differences and how we're going to have to change how we sell our products and services, and specifically courses and online digital content. That's all going to change. I'm going to cover it in the next video. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. Love to have you be part of these. I do 1 or 2 every day. And if you haven't already, please make sure to go to trainingsites.io/join. That's my personally branded campus where I teach all of this stuff about starting, building, and growing an education business.
I remember when we were still meeting at the library, Jan, remember Jan?
Yep.
He was into optimization
Oh, yeah.
of web pages. That was gonna be his new thing, and he wanted to make a business out of it and everything. And then he kind of faded away from the club there sometime after that, but that was a new thing, and you had to learn, you optimize your web page, so it'll show up in the Google searches or whatever.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Because I do use Amazon. He's saying that I can go to
ChatGPT.
GPT. Yeah.
To ask if Amazon has the best price. I mean, his list of results showed many different vendors and the prices at each site. So yeah, that's
So I go to GPT and I just say what I'm looking for.
right. Give it the criteria.
Is
Yeah.
voice activated or?
Yeah, you can use it. for-
Either way.
Right, you can
ask,
type or you can use the microphone.
There's the one from Leo. Is that the other one? that's still out?
Yes,
I think, doesn't he show?
no, he was talking about DuckDuckGo and some of the other ones. He wasn't.
But maybe that, yeah, let's watch that one since it follows up, and then we can talk about
Okay,
how to actually.
all right.
Thank you.
Why I've stopped using Google search. Hi everyone, Leo Notenboom here for AskLeo.com. A quick reminder, I have a weekly newsletter at newsletter.askleo.com where you can stay up to date with all the articles and videos that I publish throughout the week. So, Google's search engine essentially is how Google started. They made a better search engine than any of the other alternatives at that time. And they were very, very good for a very long time. I definitely ran tests periodically against some of the other search engines to just see who gave me the best results, because it was the best results that I cared about. Unfortunately, there's a term that's come into play in the industry, and it has started to apply to Google search. That term is enshittification. It's a four-step process. In the beginning, they're good to users. Then, stage 2, they start to abuse their users in favor of their business customers. Stage 3, they start to abuse even their business customers in favor of their bottom line. And then in stage 4, well, they die. Google, in my opinion, when it comes to search at least, is solidly somewhere between stages 2 and stage 3. We are, as users, being abused. And I want to show you how that happens. So we'll head over here to google.com as my search engine. I'm going to search for coffee makers because I think I'm in the market. So here are some search results. Except these are not search results. In fact, there is not a search result to be found on this page. If you look carefully over on the left-hand side, you can see that it says sponsored. That tells you that this entire row of coffee makers that are being displayed are not the result of your search, but rather the result of companies paying to be displayed on the page that you are searching for this particular term on. So for example, maybe Keurig, I don't know the others, but these companies are coming in and saying, hey, I will pay you, I don't know, a nickel, say, every time you display my coffee maker on a search related to coffee makers. And of course, they set up a whole list of keywords that they try to make themselves appear for. And appearing at the top of the search results, like they are here, is something that you can pay for. In other words, yes, you can buy the first position in Google search results. And that's what these companies have apparently done. In fact, if I scroll down, you'll see that there's even more, and it's unclear to me whether or not these are ads or not. My guess is they probably are. My guess is that this sponsored may apply not just to this first row, but also to the second. But I'm not sure. These could be legitimate search results. We just don't know. If we scroll down a little further, of course, we get people also ask, and then finally, after scrolling down basically a couple of pages, we get what we would really consider to be traditional search results targeting the term that we've been searching for. Google has been termed these days as an ad delivery company that happens to occasionally show search results. And that's really unfortunate because I think it misleads a lot of people. What they're clicking on are not what the results of an actual search are, but rather they're clicking on what advertisers have purchased to put in that position. So, with that as the problem, what are the alternatives? Well, there are, of course, several. They each have their pros and cons, and I want to talk a little bit about those and which ones I'm actually using and playing with myself. We'll start with Bing. Bing is probably the most obvious alternative to most people, simply because it's ubiquitous. And that ubiquity actually is one of its problems. I'll talk about that in a second. Once again, we'll hit coffee makers. Same thing here, though. We start with the results of paid advertisements. This top row, once again, is, as pointed out by this item in the right-hand side, ads. These are ads for coffee makers. They are not necessarily the results of Bing going out and searching. They are the result of advertisers paying to show up in this position. It's not until we scroll down a little bit that we now start to get more traditional search results for coffee makers. Now, in this case, Bing has shown us fewer ads, and they've been obvious. They've been marked as ads. It's better. But I resist Bing on principle. And that principle is simply this. Microsoft is trying so hard to ram Bing down our throats that I resist. The fact that it's the search engine used in many cases, even though you've got a different search engine specified, bugs me. Similarly, as with Edge sometimes being the browser that gets used, regardless of what your default browser is, and Edge, of course, defaults to using Bing as its search engine. These are things that I don't think should be in place. I think our choices should be respected. If Bing wants to be a better search engine, if they want to be the search engine that more people use, they just need to be a better search engine. They need to be demonstrably better than Google. And honestly, right now, it's not that hard to do. You've seen how bad Google is right now. So, if I'm avoiding Bing, what's next on my list? Well, this is one that you've probably heard of. It's DuckDuckGo. And once again, I will type in coffee makers. Now, to be clear, DuckDuckGo is also ad supported. And you can see here that it too includes a line of ads across the top. Then there's another ad, then there's another ad, and another. The good news here is that these are all clearly labeled as ads. Yes, they are still ads. Like I said, DuckDuckGo needs to make money somehow, and they do it, like everybody else, with advertising revenue. Now, the reason DuckDuckGo is better still than both Bing and Google, in my opinion, are their privacy policies. The ads that show in the search engine are not based on your prior behavior. We've all seen ads that follow us around the internet. Well, that's because those ads are based on our prior behavior, the things we've looked at, the sites we visited, the things we've clicked on. And that also affects the search results ads in both Google and Bing. It does not in DuckDuckGo. These are ads and search results that are based on your search term, not your prior behavior. Again, it's a privacy enhancement that I believe makes DuckDuckGo a better, basically more favorable browser. And in fact, it's what I've bing using as my default browser for some time. And it works fine. I get the results that I want. Now, there is one other alternative that is completely ad-free. That's Kaji.com. The reason that Kaji.com has no ads is that it is a paid service. It's not expensive, and you do have, I think, a number of searches you can do for free as a trial to see if it's going to be something worth it for you. But the bottom line here is that rather than relying on ads for revenue, Kaji simply asks you to subscribe. And I've done so. If we now look for coffee makers here, we get coffee makers. And that's it. There are no ads on this page. That, to me, is worth every penny of my subscription. It's now clear what I'm getting. Now, one of the issues with both Kaji and DuckDuckGo is where they get their search engine results. As it turns out, they get many of their results from Bing. So, in a sense, we're getting some of the results. We're actually using Bing indirectly. But in this scenario, we're actually using them through a third party that, in my opinion, gives us better results than Bing itself would give us. The other thing, of course, is that I believe DuckDuckGo, but I know that Kaji also relies on some additional sources of search engine results based on the nature of whatever it is you're searching for. But again, none of this is based on your behavior. And in the case of Kaji, there are no ads to mislead or confuse you. Now, there are some other search engines. In fact, there's probably many more search engines that I'm even aware of. 4 more that I want to at least tell you about in case you want to experiment with them include AOL. Yep, they're still around. Brave, from the creators of the Brave browser, another privacy-focused search engine. Perplexity.ai. This one I find interesting. I haven't played with it too much yet, but as its name implies, it's using AI to maybe gather or enhance the results that it shows you in response to a search. And Yahoo.com. Yahoo.com has been around forever. They are yet another search engine that you might want to experiment with. Some of these, once again, may get their results from other search engines like Bing, but they may be wrapped up in a way that is clearer and perhaps more useful to you. So, bottom line, what should you do? My recommendation is simple. If you want to avoid Google, and you want to avoid rewarding Microsoft, my recommendation is that you use DuckDuckGo. If you're interested in getting rid of ads completely in your search engine, then I actually do recommend Kaji.com. I've been using it for a while. The results are good, and it is honestly very refreshing not to have any ads intermixed. For updates, for comments, for links related to this topic and more, visit askleo.com/170290. I'm Leo Notenboom, and this.
Good information.
What do I use? I use DuckDuckGo. Matter of fact, I'll show you here. And your settings. Let's see, search engine is DuckDuckGo. So I changed it in my browser to use DuckDuckGo, and that's the one I use.
Thank you.
Sure.
When you do a Google search nowadays, you get a little AI summary.
Oh, right.
You can't not get that. There's no way to turn it on.
Estoy meando.
It's a rule. I don't mind.
Yeah, that's sometimes handy. Me, anyway.
Kind of like, why don't you do a search and we'll look at
Okay.
how that works.
All right, so.
Yeah, they are kind of pushing it down our throat there.
I think there is actually a way to turn it off, but you have to go through Google to do it.
Yeah,
Google,
probably.
Google doesn't like to feed in its own
So what
programs.
we want to do coffee.
Esa mujer no deja hablar.
You know, let's do something different. Let's do this.
Yeah, ask it like a question.
Oh, well,
Yeah, try.
well, just try that. I don't know if that's a question, but oh yeah, it's not doing anything with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where I usually get it. Like
Let's see if that brings up anything. No.
Ask it, type in there, the future of desktop computing, right? So, yeah, I like the way they give you suggestions that are always there. Yeah, see, there's an AI overview. And then if you say click, there's a link to it and then show more, and then they have a list of articles.
That's a Google search.
Yeah, that was Google. And if you ask them,
Well, you know, let me try that with DuckDuckGo, because DuckDuckGo now has AI integrated in it.
yeah, what would they do with it?
I don't know, let's find out. Oh, here we go, it's offering to
Yeah,
do.
offering to do it, so it's not totally in your face. Okay,
Oh.
it's technically available.
That's the,
We're working on it.
right. But yeah, DuckDuckGo is trying to do that.
Is
Oh,
there a microphone edition of that yet, Nikki?
Oh, sure,
You can mic it?
yeah,
I
let's go back to Google because
No, I've DuckDuckGo.
I'm not
That's my question.
sure about that. If I go to, let's see here, if I go to duckduckgo.com, I'll, if it will actually do, there we go, let's see here. I don't see a
See that little
microphone.
microphone?
Yeah, no, I don't see a microphone.
I'm ready to use it anytime they turn that on.
Uh,
It just takes me too long to have to type.
yeah, I don't see a DuckDuckGo microphone icon, whereas Google has the
right there.
icon, right, right.
Yeah. And I think they all do except.
Well, let's see here.
No.
Search. Oh, here we go. See what that.
You have to enable then.
Well, I don't know. Well, here, let's do.
How do I do
it? That's
Quick tutorial. Inspiring user.
There we go.
Yeah.
So hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to enable microphone in DuckDuckGo.
Oh, there is.
So firstly what you want to do is actually go to some other browser that you're using and in there type in DuckDuckGo. You will need to do that in order to download the browsing app on your Mac or PC. Now once you've done that, you can use DuckDuckGo freely. So you can see here it says privacy simplified. In the top right you can see the more actions button. It says send feedback, new tab, new window, then downloads, history, password, privacy pro, settings and stuff like that. You can check out settings, but it's a bit more generalized settings than using the microphone. So I'll just show you, you can actually install an extension in order to enable or use microphone in DuckDuckGo. So if you want to use
Too complicated.
dictation, so you can actually tell and
Browser, not
say something you want to search, go to here. It says voice in apps to DuckDuckGo. Use
Oh, maybe not.
dictation to type directly in DuckDuckGo. Use your voice. It says here add to Chrome. It's free and you can try on DuckDuckGo as well. So you can use this website here, which is called Dictanote, I guess. And through there you can try to say hello and use it for DuckDuckGo as well. So through there you're going to be using your microphone, and just make sure you install this extension. If you found this information helpful or useful, you can like the video. You can also share the video. You can subscribe.
Okay, so we can, if you want, I mean, I don't know how far you want to take this.
No, but I appreciate you finding that because I can't see it well enough to know what he's doing, but I know I can.
Look at it later, yeah.
I can, if I'm motivated, I can actually do that.
Yeah, Dictanote.co.
Right. I don't want to subject everybody else to it.
I have one on my phone. Let's see, which one do I have? Copilot.
Oh, the AI, you're not.
Yeah, the AI for asking questions, and I can talk to it.
Right, well, that comes with, Edge.
What's on your mind today?
Hi, I was wanting to ask you about DuckDuckGo.
Sure thing. DuckDuckGo is a search engine known for priority.
Anyway, it goes on, and it's kind of unnerving because you, okay, Sandra, what do you want to?
Yeah, it's very creepy. Very creepy.
And talks to you. So if you're feeling lonely,
That's an actual problem with it right now. People are falling in love with their AI characters.
seriously,
They're chat people.
it feels a need for
It's
company
so
and
sad.
interaction and
Yeah.
watching those little videos that amuse you or make you aghast. Oh, no, what's happening now?
And the Adult Protective Services is probably getting calls about people who have gotten married to their ChatGPT.
I watched a lot of romance scammer ones. It's addictive. I mean, I'm rotting my brain.
Oh, so sad.
They'll find it amazing how people can get taken in by that. They do.
There's a gene.
It's the same scenario over and over. All you have to do is watch some of them and they go there.
Some people are just wired for it. How do you help a person stop?
It's not easy, I don't think.
You call Adult Protective Services.
I don't know if that would work, but yeah.
Alexa, make it stop.
Well, I could actually even show it, I think if I got the screen, shared it, but I wanted a different printer at home.
Oh, right.
And I asked ChatGPT, I said, can you help me find a printer that prints duplex, has good user ratings,
Easy Wi-Fi setup.
and very easy Wi-Fi setup and use. And what was the other thing? I said laser ink is okay if it's just black and white. That's not, color isn't important. And it came back with 3 choices and why it chose them, and said, you want me to suggest places nearby that you can buy one and what the current price is? And I said, okay. Anyway, in no time at all, I read the reviews and made my choice, and
your voice changed.
Changed when I'm talking to it. And
now you're in love.
And I actually ended up buying it at Amazon, and it was here within, I'm gonna say the next day, but it might even have been that evening. Just scary in itself. Pardon?
What maker was it?
Brother.
I got a Brother LaserJet. I wanted duplex to print both, front and back. And a LaserJet was fine because I didn't care about color, and the setup on the PC to the wireless took a minute. When I set up my phone to the wireless printer, it took me stopping and starting a couple times, but I got it. But anyway, I was pleased with it. The price was within my imagining. So, but that was just using a AI search engine with ChatGPT. Wait, let me see what it is. I'm gonna click on it.
Go wireless. Which one were you?
No, it was ChatGPT,
Oh, what's
because
that?
I have that as a little shortcut up on the
Oh.
toolbar. So that's what decides me to go to it. It might be interesting to, if I had free time to go and do a similar search in the different AI's products maybe, and compare it with what a search in Google would say.
Yeah, I need to sign up.
But I'm don't care that much, I guess, right now. But times are changing fast. AI, and I was watching the Tech for Seniors yesterday, and Huey said that he keeps trying to do a new presentation on one of the AI tools, and he said, but by the time I get it started and finished, it's already changed. And that's what I'm finding. Every day, oh, this is the latest and greatest, and this is the newest features, and the next day you turn on your computer, oh, no, this is better. This has changed. It's just something so fast that you're just holding on and seeing where it takes you.
Well, it sounds like it's running you then.
Yeah, I know, and it did say, I heard that as I said it.
You should be deciding what you want to
I
do.
know, but I think it's already surpassed my brain particles.
It's taking control.
Evidently.
We have to have the latest version.
Evidently. It's scary. It's scary. Any comments from the online people, at home people, thoughts?
Oh, you mean
Very interesting.
Thanks, Sarah.
Right. Informative, very informative.
Okay, thank you. I just, when I bumped into one of these apps about the future, I thought, oh, this would be fun to explore, so that decided. And I remember Katie Couric's little short, and all I had to do was go to Google and type Katie Couric internet, and bam, there was 42 little recordings posted online of her wondering what this thing the internet is.
Do you think that they were making her dumb on purpose?
No.
I thought that a little bit.
Okay.
So one of them said, well, isn't it a bunch of, such and such computers, like they
Read
heard a
something.
little more about it than they.
Well, that was the guy in the back room,
Oh, the
that guy, he was telling us about.
But he
the,
said computers,
yeah,
and that was the beginning, wasn't
Exactly,
it?
it was ARPANET, right, so he knew, but
Yeah.
the hosts did not.
Okay, I think they did not know that.
Right, and they didn't even know what the @ sign was, well, they knew kind of what it was, but they didn't know how to pronounce it or anything, so.
Yeah, I have some old newsletters from the club, and I found one that had a section, did I send that to you, Mickey?
No.
And it said, oh, these 6 computer club members have emails now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, instead of nowadays you'd say, here's like 3 that don't.
Yeah.
But, in those days it was what, AOL maybe,
Pretty much.
and then Yahoo.
Got one
We all had
email every
Telnet.
day.
And then Freenet. Freenet
I
was,
never had a free, I don't remember,
I used Freenet at the beginning.
it was more bulletin boards.
Remember that you get a disc in your mail every day for.
Oh, that was AOL.
Yeah, that was AOL with the,
AOL.
right,
You've got mail.
yeah,
What's the movie? There's a movie with.
you've got mail,
Sleepless in.
Oh, no.
no, it's called
You have got mail, yeah, I guess so, with Tom.
Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Meg Ryan.
That was a remake of something else, I think, too.
Couldn't have been too far back because it had You Got Mail.
No, it was something different than email that it was.
Oh, yeah.
Then they came out with the email version and.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be interesting to look at. Yes, so we don't know, because I was thinking, what was I doing in 1993 and 94, Because I was trying to think, well, how old is my dog? What my daughter been, and then to jump that far ahead with the grandchild, what's it gonna look like for them in the same number of years? Lordy knows. I don't know. Amazing times. And they already take for granted, this, that, and the other. Oh, grandma. I showed him that I got the little bitty that I haven't tried to set up yet. But I did each of the 3 grandchildren when they came through the room for one occasion or another, said, oh, sit down, I want to show you this. And I said, you know what a PC, because I had to remind them, do you know PC that comes on your desktop,
Funny.
Yeah, because they probably don't even relate to that. And everything. And I says, well, look at this. This is exactly equivalent to that. You plug in your monitor, you plug in your keyboard if you choose, or use wireless keyboard. And that's your.
They're not really impressed.
Actually, the youngest one. Ooh, that might be cool. Can I have it? No.
Take yours over and play games on it.
That's right away. That's what else did they do on the games? My 2 nephews that live in Amherst have a wireless printer. And they're just, what else can I print on it? What else can I? They go online and there's patterns. I visualize sharing crochet patterns or something. And then they can feed that into their. Anyway,
they could download print something that they could then color, and you could hang it on your refrigerator. they've never done that probably.
Probably.
What are crayons? I have a grandchild question, if we're at question time.
Sure.
Okay, I have a brown grandson in Los Angeles who's 15, and you know ICE is going into the schools. Well, we were told that he should carry a copy of his birth certificate, not the real thing, or he should not let anybody have his phone and not give out his birth certificate, again, the real one. And his father is from India, but his father has gotten citizenship. So his mother's from America. But was he born here? And he was born here, but that doesn't count anymore. That doesn't count, so it still does. It's still the law of the land. It may be the law of the land, but it's not
After
the
they
law of the
haul
land.
you off somewhere.
And so, is there anything else that he should have, or I should prepare for him to help protect him as they go into the schools or the streets?
I think a copy of the birth certificate would trump almost anything. I said, like, I wouldn't have him carry the certificate, so
Thank you.
there's a copy.
Thanks.
Yeah, that must be he said California?
Los Angeles.
Yeah, that must be,
They are going into the schools, but the birth certificate.
I'm saying that must be being discussed heavily in California.
Yeah.
And,
Of course.
and reported in the newspaper, here's your guidelines, you know, if you have more questions, check here or there, because, yeah, well,
be on
that's where
the
the rioting is, or whatever they're doing.
Born in America.
Do we have any questions on this?
Program.
Yeah.
Uh,
Getting into politics again.
Well, the not in politics, I mean, saving the.
No, well, we don't have any knowledge on this.
Special knowledge.
Right. You have to-
And the thing is, you wanna have that current and up to date, and some of these AIs are not working off the absolute.
That's why I don't want them at the top of my search, because how do I know that whoever?
Well, there is a link there.
generated that-
There is a link there. You can stop, you know, whatever quotes you in that.
Right.
There's a link
Take
and
it
you
to
can
the
stop
article
and
or
go look
whatever.
and see what the date on that is, but
I just wanna skip, I just wanna get to the.
you don't wanna get, you
I don't
don't.
wanna see the.
Well, you can scroll
just
down,
wanna
I
see
guess,
the
and
result.
move right past it.
Just blow it, like, yeah, I want it at the bottom of the search is where I want it. Like,
Or click here to see the AI.
If
so.
all else fails, I'll look to see what a robot might think, you know?
Well, it's like Leo said, is he didn't like the fact that Bing was he felt it was being shoved down his throat or whatever, however he.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Pope for a minute.
Leo.
He did go to Villanova and he's highly educated, I understand, but. And I didn't think he had an opinion on everything.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. How that works out, but yeah, I don't have any ideas for you, Ellen. It is a concern though.
Maybe a tattoo.
I wouldn't.
Oh,
advocate.
now that tattoos just got the
There's
other guys in trouble. They said, oh, that looks like a gang tattoo.
So many downsides to tattoos, would have to catalog.
Kind of permanent. Misconstrued. Anyway, so I'm not sure what we'll do next month. We'll find a little theme like this and run with it unless somebody has something they specifically would like to hear more about.
Well, I would definitely like to hear how to get AI out of my search. Seriously.
Google it.
Google it.
Yeah, I did, and it's a Google thing that I have to do.
Okay.
And like, I'm not so sure here, not so sure that isn't frying pan.
Use DuckDuckGo.
Okay, that's.
I don't think.
There's an idea. Okay.
Because that's
You'll
free.
still probably have to go to, if you're gonna use, well, yeah, okay, so what you're suggesting is.
I'm talking about.
Switch to DuckDuckGo for your search.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm just thinking about my
right.
Android phone here, so.
Well,
That
you
makes.
use
that could make a
DuckDuckGo on your
difference.
Android.
What's that?
Again, if you're using Chrome, and you saw.
No, it's a Google, it's a Google thing that I'm trying
But why are you, her
When I
question
use
is,
Google-
why are you using Google?
Cause that's what's on the phone.
No,
You
it
can-
doesn't have to be.
DuckDuckGo is a choice.
I have DuckDuckGo and I have not yet figured out how to do the microphone.
Oh.
When I do that,
If you really want to use the
That's
microphone.
right, yeah.
I really wanna use the microphone.
Gotcha.
So first I'm gonna use DuckDuckGo
Okay.
the hard way. Type it all in.
You know, I'm torn between wanting to talk to it or type it. Cause sometimes I'll start to talk and then,
Yeah, right.
back up. There's a better way to say that.
In your case, Sandy, your voice actually changes when you're doing that. It's a little.
When I talk to my dog, all of a sudden, it's from here.
Is she? What? Somebody just took her over.
Yes, I understand that. But yeah, and then sometimes typing is better because you think, and then you're in a
Oh, no,
hurry and I just
no,
want to
no.
say it.
You don't know my type.
So it's nice to have an option. It's nice to have a choice.
Yeah, so I'll get the microphone onto Google, onto DuckDuckGo, and then I'll ask it how to get rid of.
Okay, you'll become our
But then
DuckDuckGo.
I can probably rearrange DuckDuckGo so that I don't have to deal with the AI answers.
Evidently, I think at this point you can.
Yeah, it just reminds me of Clippy. The minute you do it, there it is. It's like walking, you know.
Little Mr. Paperclip. I'm surprised someone hasn't pulled that out of the
Oh, they did.
closet and played with,
Oh, the iPhone.
Oh, AI on Clippy?
Yeah.
That would be fun.
you know, have it be an icon at the bottom, you
Yeah.
know, when you choose a smiley face or a anger face, you can have a clippy
There's a
face.
radio game show where they did a feature about, way back, like 20 years ago, about how they decided to get rid of Clippy. It is really funny, talking about taking.
Anyway, have our people at home probably got bored of our
Yeah, probably.
other talk. So let's just say, oh, and another thing that I wanted to say was I think we want to do a since Golden Corral is gone, I don't think anybody else has restarted it, have they?
I haven't read anything. The
Yeah, I
Chronicle
haven't.
would surely cover it.
I haven't
And then
seen
the
it.
Journal would read about it in the Chronicle and the cover you cover it 2 days later.
And then it'll be on Facebook before that. Anyway, we'd like to do a little, I'm gonna say picnic, but where we get together,
Yeah.
and have lunch somewhere. Maybe on a Sunday even, if that, Vicky likes Sundays.
Oh, like a restaurant place.
Yeah, cause nobody wants to cook
Or sit in the sun.
or sit in the sun
We'll
and
worry about whether it's gonna rain.
combat the bugs. So, try to do that in another month or so.
If you were interested in a very limited menu, that pizza place on Oberlin Avenue, Soul on Fire. It's a beautiful little, it's arranged like a restaurant, but the only people that come in are there to pick up
pizza.
But I've had a few gatherings of people on a Sunday.
Is that the one that?
It doesn't open till 3. It's
Oh,
down.
geez, I'm in bed.
Oh, I'm sorry, never mind. Leaves Nikki out. Never mind, okay.
It's
They
bedtime.
they open at noon on Fridays and they have in other words, a bunch of people could go in there and have no trouble sitting together. And then you just order, and on Fridays, they also have, other than pizza items, they have their chicken paprikash and then they open at noon. But
Do they have any vegetarian or vegan?
oh gosh, I never would have bothered to find out, I'm sorry. They probably have a vegan pizza, but I doubt that they have vegan chicken paprikash.
Well,
They call it chicken. Anyway, so if anybody thinks of a restaurant selection or choice or option,
And it's, you're thinking Sunday though, right?
we're kind of thinking
It might,
Sunday.
so far, during the week, we haven't found a day that's compatible with most people because they either have doctors or have the Salvation Army or whatever. So
Yeah.
there's most of the weekdays have been off limits so far. We haven't found a weekday that works with us all yet.
Yeah. Something like.
So are we gonna keep thinking about it or the summer will be over?
Are there any other buffet type places anymore?
Well, you know, Elyria,
What about the
Blue Sky in Elyria, I don't know how
What about
centrally
the- what
located,
about
but
the-
they have a nice room.
Isn't there the Chinese joint next nearby Planet Fitness, or is that going on?
Yeah, that's still there, I think, but that's very specific. I mean,
Well,
it's-
they have other things, but it's a, go out and all you can eat and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, now is the castle still a restaurant?
It's still Mexican.
It would be, it would be nice to be on the lake in the summer, I was thinking.
Jackalope, I don't think reopened it.
And I don't think that, I don't know whether Sweet whatever Wilson Brown's, whatever, the place that's supposed to come in and fill the Jackalope.
Oh, that's right.
That restaurant establishment, whatever you wanna call it. They were supposed to open in the spring. Well, that's a little late, so I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I just got my
think-
grandson fishing out there and I said, is the restaurant open again? And he says, no, just the gift shop, he thought.
Well, the Shipyards is now with the something brewery.
Yeah.
And that's probably open, but not early. I think that they don't open until 3 o'clock or something like that.
We could Google.
Well, yeah, true.
Things,
But first,
places on the lake to eat.
Yeah, there you go, a good test.
but we're looking for buffet style, right? So that,
It doesn't have to be, but it's a nice option, I guess.
Place that has a variety menu.
Stop recording.